Hey guys, this is illstreamthat, and we are back here on the channel finally. We are going to be doing some Kerbal Space Program, and we are on the PC today. And what we're going to do today is we're going to do some contracts. We're going to get some science from around the launch pad of the Space Center. And we're going to get as far as breaking the atmosphere today. So let's go ahead and get right into this. We have our research and development right here. We don't have any science. We have 25,000, I think they call them Kerbits. And we just have basic stuff. So we need 10 science to unlock basic rocketry and engineering 101. And we're going to do those straight away, and the way we're going to do those is we're going to head over to mission control. We can have up to 2 active contracts. Right now we have 0. We're going to gather scientific data from Kerbin. That will get us a little bit of science. And we also want to launch our first vessel, which will get us a little bit of science as well. So the first thing that I usually do is I will just grab the Mark 1 command pod, put some mystery goo on the outside, and that right there will get us a little bit of science, and we will call this Pod 1.0. And since we're not going anywhere, we don't need a parachute or anything. So we will save that and launch. It will take us right out to the pad. We're going to zoom in. We're going to observe the mystery goo. That gives us 3 science. We will keep that. We will do a crew report. That'll get us 1.5 science. We can keep that. And we can do an EVA. And do a report, and that gets us 2.4 science. So let's keep that experiment. And we just completed our first EVA test. And we can grab that, get back on board, and recover the vessel. We have a total of 8 science. We only need 2 more to unlock both. If we take engineering, we will get a thermometer as well, and we will basically just go right back out with the thermometer. And that is the one that we want. That takes us down to 3.9 science, and we're going to be getting enough for basic rocketry real quick here. We'll go back into the vehicle assembly building. We can take that off, and we'll put a thermometer on. Let's save that. We will overwrite. Go to launch, and all we have to do at that point is log the temperature. That gets us 2.4 science to recover. We can then just recover straight away. And we now have 6 science. That gives us enough for basic rocketry, which will give us a swivel engine. It's an engine where the cone gimbals, so we can actually control our we can control where the thrust of the engine goes, and we can then control our vessel with that a little bit. The wing flaps will still be useful, just for a little bit more control. We will also get an RT-10 hammer solid fuel booster, and we will also get a FLT-100 fuel tank. So let's research that. That takes us down to 1.3 science. And we need 15 science for survivability, we need 18 science for stability, we need 20 science for general rocketry. So let's leave the facility. And we can go, we don't want to go back into research and development, we want to go into mission control. We do have one active one left. We still haven't launched our first vessel. So the reason that I did it that way was because what we want to do, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to leave our pod out here. We're going to put a parachute on top. We're going to go into the science. We want to double everything. What that does is that puts one of each on each side. That is perfect. That's exactly what we want to do. Everything is going to be symmetrical. Let's grab we want a coupling first. The reason that we want a coupling is because we're not going to bring those back. Let's put the swivel on there. So we have these three right here. This is our center of thrust. And that there is just about right. We want that to be either right. We want that to be basically right around the cone. So that will actually work. This one right here is our center of mass. And that right there is our aerodynamic overlay. We want the aerodynamic to be as close to the center of mass as possible. And fins can help with that. And there we go. So that puts it pretty much right inside there. And that is perfect. So what we're going to do is when we launch, when we get in the air, we're going to take this side right here. We're going to do the goo and the thermometer while we're in the air on this side. Once we land, we're going to do these. And we're also going to do a crew report. We're going to do a crew report while we're in the air, and then we're going to store that, and then we're going to do an EVA, and then another crew report once we land, along with the goo and thermometer from that side. So when we launch, or when we're building, we want to take a look at our stack over here. And everything goes from the bottom to the top. So the first thing that's going to go is our engine. The second thing that's going to go is our decoupler. And the third thing that's going to go is our parachute. And that's exactly where we want it. So let's go ahead and we are going to call this Launch 1.0. We'll save that one. And we will launch, and that will take care of the final launch that we need for this, that will take care of the launch we need for our contract. Let's get rid of those. We've got Jebediah Kerman. He is a pilot. We're going to turn our SAS on, and the reason we do that is that's our stability assist. And That's something that I almost always will have on. That just makes things a little bit more stable. So because we have a liquid-fueled engine, our throttle, which is over here, is usable. We're going to take that up to 100%. If we had a solid rocket booster on here, the throttle wouldn't really matter because that's more like a bottle rocket, where basically you light the fuse and it goes until it burns out. With the liquid fuel, you actually have throttle control. So let's go ahead and we're going to launch. We're in the air. Let's observe the goo. That gets us 7 science, and let's observe the thermometer. That gets us 5.6 science. Our fuel is gone. We're not going to get rid of our engine just yet. Actually, I think we'll go ahead and we'll get rid of it that way. That will ensure that it doesn't hit anything important. And you can see that we're falling now. Let's do a crew report. That gets us 3.5 science. We'll keep that. And we can see by our parachute over here, if it's white, it means it is safe to deploy. Yellow means it's a little risky. If it's red, basically you don't want to do anything with it when it's red. And there we go. That was our engine. It splashed down somewhere around there. We can't do an EVA yet because we need to upgrade the astronaut complex to be able to do those. And we're going to speed this up just a little bit here. That way we can get down a little bit quicker and get on with business. There we go. So we have splashed down. So let's right now observe the mystery goo down there. That'll give us 4 science. And we've got 3.2 science for that. We can do an EVA. That'll get us 3.2 science. We'll take the data, store the experiments, and climb back on board. And 2 science for a crew report splashdown. So let's recover the vessel, and that should get us our science. So we got 33.5 science from all of that, from the crew reports, the EVA reports, temperature scans. So that's actually pretty good. That got us 33.5. Total of 43 science. We got we recovered some money from the recovered parts, and we didn't get any reputation off of that, which is fine. So let's go back into research and development, and we can get 2 of these. Survivability gives us heat shields, which we're going to need. It also gives us a barometer. It gives us some micro landing struts, radiator panel, a couple of service bays that can hold different things, and it also gives us some radial mount parachutes. We're going to be getting that one. And basic science is going to be the first one on this level that we're going to get. And that's because we want the Probodobodyne Stay Putnik, and we also want the battery and the Science Junior as well. The experiment storage unit is kind of useful, and that also gives us another antenna as well. We can grab a couple of things here. I think what we're going to do is, before we touch those, we're not going to spend anything yet. So we have a couple of focused temperature surveys. I don't really care too much for these. Some of them are a little bit harder to get to at the right altitude. We are going to do those at some point, but right now we just don't have the technology to do it. We are going to test the Flea. It's a solid fuel booster at the launch site. That will give us a little bit of science. And I don't know if we're going to do this one yet or not. I think we're going to hold off on this one. We're not going to do that one yet. That's an escape trajectory one. We're not going to do that one yet because we haven't even been to Moon. And we're not ready to orbit yet. We're going to take the one for escaping the atmosphere, and we're going to be doing that one simply because we're going to do it. So we're going to leave the facility. We're going to go into build. We need the RT5 Flea solid fuel booster. Which is a small one. So let's grab our pod. We're going to grab our parachute. We're going to grab our coupling. Actually, before we even do that, we're just going to do this because we need our barometer. So we need our barometer reading. So we're just going to call this barometer test 1. We're going to take that one and we're just going to take the reading. That'll get us 3.6 science. And we recover that. That gets us, 3.6 science. We have a total of 32. Let's go back in, and we're going to take that off, make it a double. Put those on. Okay, and then we're basically just going to rebuild what we built before. But we're going to do it with the Flea. So let's get those on. That'll work. Okay, so with that, everything is good, and we're basically just going to do the same tests, or the same flight that we did for our first launch. And we just need to activate the part. So we don't need to worry about the throttle because the throttle does not matter. This one is just like a firework. Just light the fuse and go. So let's log the pressure data there. That gets us 8.4 science. Okay, so it ran out of solid fuel. And that will actually take us up quite a bit higher than the original flight. Let's angle that way. Okay, I don't know where that's going to hit. If it hits something down there, I don't think it's gonna matter if it does. It looks like it's gonna be a little ways away though. So we were able to test the flea. We're gonna go a little bit quicker here. And there we go. And we are just about done with that. Okay, there we go. Let's go ahead and we will log the pressure on that one, which gets us 4.8 science. So I did this flight simply because we needed the same readings with our barometer that we had with our thermometer and the goo. So the science has been done in the same situations for our now 3 different science tools. So let's go ahead and recover the vessel. And that got us a total of 14 science for that flight, and we have a grand total of 48 science. We got 2,700 funds recovered from all of that, and no reputation. So let's go back into research and development, and we can actually grab general rocketry, and we can also grab stability, or we can grab flight control and basic science. If we do basic science, we then have batteries, we have a probe, so we can do unmanned stuff. We have Science Junior, which is another science tool. But I think what we're going to do is we're just going to finish out this part of the tree. That'll get us the Reliant liquid fuel engine. It'll get us the Thumper solid fuel booster, and it'll also get us another fuel tank. And we will get the stability as well. That will get us a radial decoupler. It'll get us an actual winglet. And it will get us an aerodynamic nose cone. That takes us down to 10.4 science, and we are through the 3rd level. Or, well, actually, I guess you could call it the third level because they give you the first. So we're through the third level of the science tree. And we're not going to take any of these, I don't think. You know, I might grab this one from Rocco Max Conglomerate for the thumper, because that's going to be what I want to use next. So let's see if that is going to work. So we have the thumper, so we have to haul the thumper into flight above Kerman, and we have to escape the atmosphere, and I think we can do those on the same flight, and that is what we are going to be trying to do. So we're back in the vehicle assembly building. Let's grab a brand new so let's grab a brand new craft. We're gonna use the Mark 1 command pod. And of course, the first thing we do is we've got the parachutes, and we're going to use some drogue chutes. We want 2 of them. If we put those up there, that's fine. And on this side here, we only want 1. We're gonna grab a goo. We're gonna grab a thermometer and a barometer. So hopefully, if we can get out of the atmosphere with all 3 of those things intact, then we're going to do all 3 tests. And we're also going to be doing a crew report. We won't be able to do an EVA report unless we upgrade, which we're going to see if we can do before we take off here. We don't want our coupling yet. This will be the first time that we use a heat shield. And the heat shield has what they call a blader on the underside of it, and what it will do is it will basically help to dissipate the heat from when we re-enter the atmosphere. So now we want a decoupler. There we go. And we want the thumper. So let's see where we are at. So we want to grab that and bring it down. And again, the way we do that is with wings. We're going to grab 4. We're going to grab these ones. And the reason we're grabbing these is because these will actually move like wings, because we do not have a gimbaling rocket cone on the thumper. And that right there should be all we need. So we're going to have the thumper, and that should have enough force to push us out of the atmosphere, I believe. And once we're up there, we're going to decouple. And then we have our 3 parachutes for when we come back down. And Jeb, of course, will be our pilot. Let's actually take a look at our crew. We do have Jeb. He's been our pilot for a while. We've got Valentina. She's another pilot. We're going to use her a little bit, but we're not going to use her We're not going to use her as often as Jeb, at least not at first. If we happen to lose Jeb, she will become our main pilot. And then we also have Bill, who is our engineer. The engineers can repack chutes, they can make repairs. And then we have Bob, and he is our scientist. If you have a scientist, they can reset all of the science experiments. So when we get a pod that has more than one seat, we're going to be bringing Bob along, so that way we can carry only a few of the science experiments, and then Bob can do EVAs and grab the data, and then he can manually reset all of those, and we can do the experiments again. But again, we're going to stick with Jeb for now. So we are ready to go. All we need is a name, and I will call this Atmo Breaker 1.0. And let's launch it. Okay, so if we come over here, we have our resources. We have 50 units of electrical charge, 10 units of monopropellant, 200 units for the ablator, and 820 units of fuel. Let's have our contract open. We need to get up to 70,000 meters to escape the atmosphere. And we have everything right now. We have the Thumper. We're on Kerbin. We just need to be flying. We need to be between 37,000 and 44,000 meters. And we need to be going between 600 and 200 meters per second. So we're going to keep that open. And again, right now our throttle doesn't matter because we're using solid fuel. So let's go ahead and launch and hope we can get Jeb above 70,000 meters and bring him back safely. Okay, so we are well within the speed, but we're not going to have it. That's fine. If we can break the atmosphere, that's all we need to do here. And we may not break the atmosphere. So let's go into the map. This is our first time in the map. We're going to break it. We're definitely going to break it. So we're going to be well above. Looks like we're going to be, it's probably going to come down to about 190,000, which is fine. Okay. So nothing's going to break. We've made it up and above everything. So we're not going to get the one for the Thumper yet. There should be... I don't hear the music. There it is. So you can hear that little bit of music, and that's how you know that you are in space. We're well above the water. We're going to go ahead, we're going to let that go. Let's go back into the map. We are almost at the apoapsis. So you're going to have, you're always going to have an apoapsis, and that is the highest point of where you're going. And if we're going to figure this out in the next episode. Once we get an orbit, we're going to have not just an apoapsis but a periapsis as well. And the periapsis is the lowest point of your orbit. So right now, we're going to go ahead and warp. That gets us up and above everything. Let's go back into the map. And we want to turn our SAS on. Makes it a lot easier to be where we need to be. And before we forget, okay, we want to get these before it's too low. There we go. Okay, so we got them. I almost forgot about those. Okay, so the reason I put those up so high as well is because we are going to be hitting water. And I want to make sure that when we do, that they will not be destroyed. And there we go. So we have... let's turn a little bit here. Okay, so when you come back into the atmosphere, you're always going to experience heat. That is where the heat shield comes in. If you notice, our parachutes are red. That one is still red. I think those are drogue chutes. They are. The drogue chutes were fine. Everything's good now. Let's go ahead and bring all of those up. So we should be able to land, and when we do, we will be done. Because we will have broken the atmosphere, which was our goal for this episode. And in the next episode, we're going to be using Valentina a little bit more. There we go. So we have done everything that we need to do. Let's recover the vessel. And that should have got us quite a bit of science. That got us 38 science for a total of 62. We recovered a vessel after a suborbital flight, so we did break the atmosphere. And Jeb is ready to go again. So let's go into the research and development. We can grab one thing and one thing only, and we're going to grab basic science for the battery and the probodobodyne. And I think there are a few things. So really the next one that what I'm going to do, because I really want the hitchhiker. The reason I want the hitchhiker is I want to be able to get more people. But yeah, there is quite a long technology tree here. So let's go into mission control. We will see what we have here. If there is anything that we can do, there is nothing we can do. Okay, I was hoping that there would be something that we could do out there on the launch pad, and there is not. So the only active contract we have right now is to haul the Thumper into flight above Kerbin. We're not going to do that today. And that's going to be the end of our first episode of Kerbal Space Program. I want to thank everybody for watching. My name is illstreamthat. You can go ahead and follow me at illstreamthat over on Twitch. And I will be streaming on Twitch starting next year. The first of the year probably is when I have it scheduled. I'm barely going to have enough time for YouTube this year. But we're going to be basically doing as much as we can on YouTube. But go ahead and follow me over on Twitch. I will be there next year, beginning of next year. And thank you guys for watching, and have a great day.